This week on ATV News, cancer death rates are decreasing, President Trump signs an executive order rolling back climate change restrictions, and AU students elect their first Black female student government president. I'm Mariah Espada.
And I'm Katie Malone.
ATV News starts now. According to a new study published by the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, the rate of deaths due to cancer is decreasing for both men and women. From the years of 2010 to 2014, the overall cancer deaths of men decreased by 1.8% per year, 1.4% for women, and 1.6% for children. Researchers from multiple institutions believe this decrease is due to improvements in prevention, early detection, and treatment. They also believe that new treatments, like immunotherapy, led to significant improvements in the survival rates. Despite this increased survival outcomes, the cure to the deathly disease remains unsolved.
In a new initiative to support girls of color, DC Public Schools launched a plan to start support groups and a system-wide all-girls conference. These efforts come after the opening of a high school for Black and Latino boys in August. Controversy emerged questioning why the district opened an all-boys school but not a female counterpart. DC Public Schools responded by saying that the groups of girls of color they spoke with did not want their own school. They requested a space unique to them to build their confidence and learn about one another instead. The citywide conference that aims to empower these young women will be held on June 3rd and followed by numerous workshops next school year. For the latest in entertainment news, let's go to Chelsea Fosu.
Thanks, Katie. I'm Chelsea Fosu with Entertainment News. Let's start with Hollywood's newest A-list couple, Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez, or shall we call them J-Rod or A-Lo. The new couple was spotted arm in arm on Friday, heading to what seems to be their favorite restaurant in New York, Mariah, for the second day in a row. The two even matched in beige outfits. Do I hear perfect match? During an interview on The View on Friday, Rodriguez opened up about his romance with Lopez and had great things to say. He said she's an amazing girl, one of the smartest humans he's ever met, and also an incredible mother. Now I wonder how Drake feels about this. On to other news, Selena Gomez stunned the red carpet on Thursday at the 13 Reasons Why premiere, the new Netflix series she produced. It is great to see Gomez happy and healthy. She looked absolutely breathtaking in an orange Oscar de la Renta dress as she proudly talked about her new piece of work. Congrats, Selena. Now to Kim Kardashian West. The reality star debuted her new, much shorter blunt hairstyle on Thursday. Coincidentally, the same day Blac Chyna was seen with the same do that Kardashian West had just gotten rid of. Kim K rocked her new look while out with sister Kendall Jenner in Beverly Hills during filming for Keeping Up with the Kardashians while they were out and about. Speaking of the Kardashians' reality TV show, on the latest episode, we see how the aftermath of the Paris robbery affects Kim, greatly leaving her on edge and frightened of the reminders of what happened to her in Paris. We also watched as Kendall contemplated her decision to prosecute her unstable stalker and Kris Jenner's new mission to keep her children safe. Make sure to tune in on Sundays at 9 p.m. to keep up with our favorite reality family. I'm Chelsea, and this has been Entertainment News. Back to Katie and Mariah in the studio.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Katie, I don't know about you, but entertainment news, I swear it's the gift that keeps on giving. Yo soy puertorriqueña, which is Spanish for I'm Puerto Rican, so Jennifer Lopez is our queen, and now she's dating Alex Rodriguez. He's Dominican, he's from the Yankees, so this is a huge deal for our community right now.
Do you think Drake's somewhere writing really sad songs about it right now for his next album?
Oh, absolutely. I'm also a huge Drake fan, and if I know anything, I know that that next album is definitely going to have some sort of a J-Lo track on it.
Begging for J-Lo back, maybe. We'll see.
I mean, who wouldn't? Now we go to Fatima and Savannah for a report on Holocaust Remembrance Week.
My name is Fatima Munshi, and I'm here with Savannah McCann, and we are covering AU Holocaust Remembrance Week. The event, organized by American University Hillel and AU Jewish Student Association, serves as a time for reflection and remembrance. The event began on Sunday with a candlelight vigil ceremony, followed by a keynote address from Holocaust survivor Anna Gross on Monday. And now for a report on today's activities for AU Holocaust Remembrance Week, Savannah McCann.
Thanks, Fatima. This is Savannah McCann reporting from Holocaust Remembrance Week. I'm reporting live from one of the many events being put on today. Today's event is a 24-hour name reading of those who lost their life during the Holocaust. The event started Tuesday at 5 p.m. and will run until Wednesday at 5 p.m. The week will end with a German-Jewish Shabbat service, followed by dinner in McDowell Formal Lounge. I'm here with Sophie Levy, a member of AU Hello. Sophie, can you give us a little more information?
Earlier in the week, we heard a Holocaust survivor speak, and it was really incredible hearing her story. I've never quite heard a story like hers. She actually broke her leg in one of the camps and still survived, and with two of her sisters returned back home for 19 years until traveling to America. And I definitely recommend trying to hear from a Holocaust survivor if you can, because it unfortunately is getting slimmer and slimmer to have that opportunity.
This is Savannah McCann reporting live from Holocaust Remembrance Week.
Thanks, Savannah.
I think it's really important that even though the Holocaust seems so far in our past, it's still affecting people that are alive today, and we're really giving them the recognition that they deserve for going through such a horrendous experience.
Katie, I completely agree, and it's really important that this campus remains extremely inclusive of all communities that are on this campus, and there is a Jewish community, so having this Remembrance Week, I feel, is extremely vital, especially for them.
I definitely agree, yes.
An Oregon mom is suing over $112,000 for an alleged Easter egg hunt injury. Rachel Townsend claims an overcrowded Easter egg hunt resulted in her suffering some serious injuries. The lawsuit states the injuries included a torn meniscus in her left knee, a partially torn ligament, as well as sprains and strains. Townsend said she paid admission for a hunt she believed to be designed for smaller children, but was instead rushed by older kids and unregistered participants, which resulted in her being pushed to the ground. She has since then filed against both the venue where the egg hunt took place as well as the event planning company. She claims the defendants should have known the planned activity would have harmed her and should have expected to conduct safety precautions accordingly. Now let's go to politics with Liz Holmes.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Liz Holmes with This Week in Politics. On Monday, Democrats called for California Representative Devin Nunes to recuse himself from the House Russia's inquiry. Nunes has so far refused to step down. Democrats claim that Nunes is too close to Trump to be impartial. They also claim he is stalling the investigation and canceling meetings with those testifying. To these accusations, Nunes responded, "Sounds like their problem." On Tuesday, President Trump signs an executive order to roll back climate change restrictions in place by the Obama administration. The president wants to prioritize jobs over climate change. This order will put coal miners back to work and thus increase our country's carbon emissions. The order will also lessen regulations surrounding other environmental protection policies not directly related to climate change. The House voted to overturn internet policies created by the FCC. This overturn means that broadband companies will continue to be able to sell customers online data without the customer's permission. North Carolina lawmakers repealed and replaced the HB 9 bathroom bill on Thursday. The new bill prevents local governments from enacting non-discrimination ordinances for 3 years. Republican State Senate Leader Phil Berger was pleased with the bill, calling it a compromise while still preventing men from entering women's bathrooms. LGBTQ groups called the bill a betrayal and a fake repeal. That's This Week in Politics. For ATV News, I'm Liz Holmes. Now back to Mariah and Katie at the desk.
Thanks, Liz.
It's absolutely crazy to me that anyone can roll back climate change restrictions. I think we've seen in the past the impact that these laws make on reducing emissions and things like that, and what we do now really impacts the future.
Absolutely. I actually am in an econ class now, economics class, and it's crazy the things I'm learning, and I just feel as though, college student or not, you need to get out there and start looking at what these economists are saying and about climate change specifically, so that you really can decipher whether or not you're going to agree with what President Trump is saying in his administration. So definitely go out there and really dig in to find out what is it that you really believe about it.
Get to know both sides, definitely.
Absolutely.
Now we'll go to Sarah Kravitz for a special report on the AUSG presidential election.
After 4 weeks of campaigning and debating, the American University student body elected Taylor Dumpson for president for the 2017-2018 academic school year.
For AUSG President Taylor Dumpson.
Crowds cheered when Taylor's name was announced. We caught up with Taylor, and here's what she had to say.
I don't have words for this. I don't have any words. I'm shocked. I'm so ecstatic. Honestly, I can't help but thank God for this.
Current President Devontae Toriente was present for the announcement, and here's what he had to say.
I know Taylor's the perfect person to take over this position. I know she has the vision. I know she has the principles and the drive. Like I've said from day one, Taylor's going to be amazing at this job.
For ATV News, I'm Sarah Kravitz.
Thanks, Sarah.
Katie, I'm so excited that Taylor won. It's absurd to think that after Devontae, we're going to have another black student coming into the student government position, and I love Taylor personally. I think she's going to do great things, and now that President Kerwin is leaving, this is a really transitional time for AU, so who we chose for our student government president, this means a lot.
We have our first black woman student government president, our first woman president of the school. We're really progressing, I think.
AU's doing it big time right now.
Good time for women at this school. Earlier this week, a woman was arrested once again for climbing a fence near the White House. This is the third time she's been taken into custody in the last week. The most recent attempt happened around 2:15 a.m. last Sunday morning. After being taken into custody, the public was assured that her backpack contained nothing dangerous. She's been charged with unlawful entry and contempt of court. The first incident of her scaling the fence was on March 21st when she was found dangling from the White House fence by just her shoelaces.
Now we go to sports with Kate Ivey.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Kate Ivey, and here's what's happening in sports. Opening day of baseball is just around the corner as the Washington Nationals hold their first game on Monday, April 3rd. The Nationals play the Miami Marlins at home in Washington, D.C. The Nats have won 3 of their last 4 opening games. Ryan Zimmerman, the Nationals' first baseman, is starting the opening game for the 12th time while being on the team. In previous opening games, he has hit 1 home run and 1 RBI. Hopefully the Nationals have another win for the opening season. Moving to hockey, the Washington Capitals played the Colorado Avalanche on Wednesday, March 29th. The game was played in Colorado, but the Capitals brought home the victory. The Capitals totaled 35 shots on goal and ended up winning 5-3. The Cleveland Cavaliers lost to the Chicago Bulls 99-93 on Thursday, March 30th. LeBron James, the point guard for the Cavs, finished the game with 26 points. This game moved LeBron up to number 7 on the NBA scoring list, passing Shaquille O'Neal by 3 points. However, this was the Cavs' 3rd straight loss, which left them at a record of 6-10. Hopefully the Cavs will pick it up next game. For the 4th time, American University's Saeed Nelson earned the Rookie of the Week for men's basketball. The Eagles played Navy on Wednesday, March 29th. American won thanks to Nelson's 3.5 assists, 4 steals, and 19 points. The final score was 74-58. For sports, I'm Kate Ivey. Back to Mariah and Katie in the studio.
Thanks, Kate.
Now, I heard that although the Capitals have never won the Stanley Cup, they're doing really, really well this season.
Did you hear that?
I heard that. I'm not sure. I don't know much about hockey.
Kate, I must admit, I'm not the sports expert, but I might need to start downloading some sports app or something, because that sounds pretty interesting to me.
Some DC pride.
Yeah, I gotta get on that.
Yeah.
Now we go to MGC for a report on the graduation fair.
What does a spring semester of a college student look like if it doesn't include commencement activities? The American University Bookstore put on a graduation fair to make sure students are all set to turn their tassels.
Basically, the grad fair is kind of a one-stop shop for graduates. They can find out information on their cap and gown orders, get their cap measurements, check on their kind of graduation status with the registrar's office, and then they can also learn more about being an alum once they graduate and how that works.
American University senior Jade Mackey was shocked to find out how much effort AU puts into graduation and even their alumni.
It was very helpful because as a senior, you just get emails thrown at you and you never know where to go or what to do. So coming to the grad fair and to actually hear people speak about each event that's for as a senior, so the senior barbecue, the toaster grads, and even the happy hour, it was informative.
With the spring academic semester still in full swing, AU has made graduation one thing that students don't need to stress about. Well, maybe just a little less. Reporting from the Mary Graydon Center, I'm Tony Peak for ATV.
Thanks, Tony.
Katie, I'm just wrapping up my freshman year, but looking at this package, I mean, graduation, it's right around the corner. 4 years passes by really, really quickly, so I'm a little anxious now after watching that.
It's not that far away, and it's kind of scary to be out there in the real world, having graduated college, starting a career, but hopefully AU will prepare us for that.
The real world, it's approaching soon. Actor Shia LaBeouf can finally move on from his January arrest. 30-year-old LaBeouf was arrested earlier this year for allegedly assaulting a fellow protester outside his Museum of the Moving Image exhibit. He was charged with misdemeanor around the same time he got into a verbal argument when chanting, "He will not divide us," referring to President Trump. The Transformers star was accused of ripping his opponent's scarf as well as shoving and scratching him. After LaBeouf's arrest, the museum shut down the project. However, it has been confirmed that the Queens District Attorney has decided to dismiss the assault charges. Now, possibly another anti-Trump exhibit or Transformers movie may be heading our way.
Ivanka Trump's recent move to D.C. is causing disruption to the surrounding neighborhood. Her neighbors had originally sent a handwritten note welcoming Ivanka and her family, but neighbors grew impatient. As no parking signs and Secret Service cars began taking over the area, residents of the Northwest Washington neighborhood requested change. After the mayor contacted the Secret Service, the signs were removed. Some residents, however, are still not satisfied. They believe that the amount of Secret Service around the house is excessive, going as far to say that the family is a disruption to the street. The Secret Service has responded by saying that they will try to collaborate with residents while maintaining the necessary level of security.
For this week's Finance Report, we turn to Riddhi Sarkar.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Riddhi Sarkar with this week's Finance Report. On Thursday, a federal court in Hawaii extended its freeze of President Donald Trump's revised travel ban indefinitely. An argument against the ban is the expected damage to Hawaii's tourist industry. The World Travel and Tourism Council has forecast that the travel and tourism sector, which contributed $1.5 trillion to the U.S. economy, or 8.1% of its GDP, will grow at 2.3% in 2017, a reduction of 0.5 percentage points compared with last year. In fact, flight search data collected by Forward Keys, a travel software group, showed airline bookings to the U.S. were down 6.5% during the week after Trump issued his first executive order against the entry of citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries in January, later blocked by the courts. Then, in February, the 3 largest U.S. airlines, United, Delta, and American Airlines, saw an average drop in revenue passenger miles of 2.5% compared with the same period last year. In other news, Amazon has announced it will now start collecting sales taxes on purchases in Hawaii, Idaho, Maine, and New Mexico, the last 4 states in which it wasn't already collecting sales taxes. 4 other states, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon, have no sales tax. Alaska also does not have a statewide tax, but it does have municipal sales taxes. This move comes after years of Amazon being a leader in fighting to keep online purchases tax-free. However, as it has started offering quicker and quicker deliveries, it has been expanding its network of distribution centers and started collecting sales taxes in more and more states. And that does it for This Week in Finance. I'm Riddhi Sarkar for ATV News. Now back to Mariah and Katie in the studio.
Thanks, Riddhi.
Katie, I'm from New York City, which means I'm not the biggest fan of tourists, but it completely made sense what Riddhi was talking about how this travel ban could have obviously directly affected the travel industry. And at the end of the day, we do need these tourists.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, even here in D.C., I see so many tourists wandering the streets looking at monuments and stuff. What would we do without them?
The economy needs them. Now let's see what's happening around the world with Tristin Brown.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Tristin Brown. And this week in world news, Turkey has returned to a state of destruction after government offenses level parts of rebellious cities. A barrage of terrorist attacks by the Islamic State and Kurdish groups has changed people's sense of safety. Government tanks crushed Kurdish uprisings, leaving a little behind in multiple towns. Seeing as the area is still under lockdown, it's hard for reporters to reach this part of Turkey, being told by senior officers, "You are crazy, this place is very dangerous." Patrick Kingsley, a reporter for the New York Times, made a trip to the Turkish ghost towns where he rolled past the basement of where dozens of Kurdish burned to death. In other news, India is reinterpreting its nuclear weapon doctrine with evidence suggesting potential ramifications for the already tenuous nuclear balance in South Asia. New assessments suggest that India is considering allowing preemptive nuclear strikes against Pakistan's arsenal. Their current nuclear doctrine bars India from launching a first strike, but may loosen its interpretation to deem preemptive strikes as a defensive tactic. According to senior Indian officials, states with nuclear weapons often leave obscurity in their doctrine to prevent enemies from exploiting gaps in their proscriptions and to preserve flexibility. This all comes against a backdrop of long-term tensions between India and Pakistan that have led to several wars. Vipin Narang, a technology professor, states, "It's very scary because all the first strike instability stuff is real." We turn back to our president, Donald Trump, who followed through on his promises to get tough on trade with China less than a week before his meeting with President Xi Jinping of China. President Trump requested a tighter enforcement of tariffs imposed on anti-dumping and anti-subsidy trade cases. Trump said his meetings with China will be a very difficult one. With very little action being done, the orders seem more like a delay tactic that gives officials time to come up with ununified trade policy that may have yet to be composed. We'll see what happens next week in World News. I'm Tristin Brown. Back to Katie and Mariah in the studio.
Thanks, Tristin.
With such an insane destructive capacity of nuclear weapons, it's no wonder there's so many fights over the management of them.
Yeah, Tristin really put everything into perspective with this World News segment, and I just, especially when talking about these nuclear weapons, I mean, it's crazy to think that this is the world that we live in, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a little scary.
Oh, definitely scary. The man who fired an assault rifle in Comet Ping Pong late last year pleaded guilty to weapons and assault charges. Edgar Madison Welch, a North Carolina resident, admitted that he traveled to D.C. to face a conspiracy about an alleged child sex trafficking ring linked to Hillary Clinton. This theory has been dismissed as false news based loosely on the fact that a Clinton campaign chairman had occasionally dined there. Transporting firearms and ammunition across state lines is a federal charge, and D.C. charged him with assault with a dangerous weapon. Although Welch's answers in court were brief, he clearly admitted to the crime. Sentences is set for June 22nd, but Welch has previously agreed to pay restitution of almost $6,000 to the restaurant. Now for our weather report, we go to Nadia Slocum.
Thanks, Katie. I'm Nadia Slocum with this week's weather forecast. The start to spring hasn't brought rainbows and sunshine yet, but don't give up. Sunshine and clear skies are on the horizon. With that being said, this week will not be as wet and humid as last week, but once again, don't expect too much sunshine this week. Monday will be partly cloudy with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 59 degrees. Tuesday will be a high of 71 degrees and a low of 49 degrees, with a 60% chance of rain in the afternoon. Wednesday will be the nicest day this week, so try to leave your dorm room at least once during the course of the day. Wednesday will be sunny with a high of 67 degrees and a low of 50 degrees. On the other hand, Thursday will be a completely different story. Expect rain for most of the day with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 50 degrees. Friday will be mostly cloudy with a high of 60 degrees and a low of 43 degrees. As for Saturday, it's going to be partly cloudy for most of the day with a high of 58 degrees and a low of 41 degrees. This is your ATV weather forecast. Have a great week. Back to the studio with Katie and Mariah.
Thanks, Nadia.
Katie, I'm super happy that she mentioned rain. I know that this upcoming week is going to be super crazy for me, especially with midterms slowly starting to creep up. So I don't mind the rain and, staying in this time.
Staying in to study, parking yourself in the lib and just, going to the mud pucks for snacks and grinding out work.
Oh, yeah. 95-degree weather. It could wait for another week.
Wait for summer, please.
This week, a 14-year-old woman got lost and stranded near Grand Canyon for 5 days. Texan Amber Van Heck was driving in the Havasu Pai Reservation when her car ran out of gas. 5 days later, Arizona Public Safety got word about the 911 call Van Heck had placed days prior, where she explained that she had been stranded near the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Van Heck was out of gas, barely had cell phone signal, and was running low on food and water in her vehicle. The rescue crew eventually found her from their helicopter after seeing rocks spelling out the word help. After being rescued, Van Heck went to Facebook to make light of the situation, posting, quote, "I guess I got to cross riding in a helicopter off my bucket list." Van Heck has since been recuperating. For the latest in campus news, we turn to Sarah Cammarata.
Thanks, Mariah. I'm Sarah Cammarata, and this is What's Up AU. American University will host the National Eating Disorders Association Walk for the DMV area on Sunday. British model Iskar Lawrence will be speaking at the walk on the quad. The Clothing Brand area is sponsoring the event, and the student fee to register is $15. Hundreds of AU students helped to remember those lost during the Holocaust this week. On the steps of the K Center, students read names for 24 hours beginning on Tuesday as a part of Holocaust Remembrance Week, sponsored by AULL and the JSA. The student groups also hosted a vigil ceremony to start the week, a Holocaust survivor speaker on Monday, and a German-Jewish Shabbat on Friday. The Associate Director of Admissions announced this week that AU accepted nearly all of its early decision applicants this year. The university accepted 82% out of the nearly 1,000 early decision applications. This is a much higher acceptance rate than AU's overall acceptance rate, which dropped to 25% last year. The average GPA of the admitted group is 3.58. To kick off Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, AUSG's Women Initiative is hosting Take Back the Night. Take Back the Night is an annual campus march and reclamation of space for survivors of sexual violence. After the march, students will gather to speak out against violence and share their stories. Women's Initiative says the goal is to create a safe, caring, and inclusive space for survivors and supporters to come together and take back the night. And that's it for What's Up AU. I'm Sarah Cammarata. Now back to Katie and Mariah in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah.
As Sarah brought up, we have some new Eagles coming up this next semester. I logged onto my Facebook and saw a couple people who are super excited. Class of 2021 is coming soon. This is really exciting news.
I'm excited to welcome the new Eaglets, get them accompanied to campus, help them out a little bit, show them the way.
Yeah, and AU's starting to get more competitive. I see that acceptance rate starting to decline, so we made it here. We'll see if in a few years who makes it here as well.
It's pretty impressive. Well, that's it for ATV News this week. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I'm Katie Malone.
And I'm Mariah Espada. Thanks for watching.